Chief Executive Officer, Reverend Osei Kofi, the maestro, as we were then called, and gentlemen on the high table, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I was commandeered by the Deputy Minister to come and stand for him because then he had to attend to an equally important engagement. So he had few words that we had discussed that then I'll relate to you. One of the issues that we have been grappling with as a people over the last how many years is the brand of football that we wish to sell for ourselves. And the brand of football is almost all the attributes that Chiefs has said. But then you need to understand that to be able to sell yourself, there has to be some unique attributes, extra unique attributes that you should have for yourself as a player. And that is why the brand is important, because the brand relates to consistency. And a lot of times, players have had problems because they've never been consistent. Consistent does not mean you will not play, but consistency in your performance. Consistency is the one that the supporters would always wish to come and see. And over the years, consistency has been the most thing that has let us down as a nation. Not many of us have been very consistent in the things that we do on the field, in the things that we do with our training, in the things that we do with response to our coaches, the things that we do even with the discipline that you need to have. And in discipline has been one of the major banes of our football. And in discipline is a major issue. I mean, yes, it could be part of a national life, but for a footballer that the whole business that you are involved in is playing, then you have to be consistent in the things that you do. Now, I'll take it from a different angle because I want to talk about the business of it. Yes, at this point, you might be a manner, you cannot sign a contract, but you should be interested in the contract that you will have. You should be interested, be advised. I've known people who sign contracts and they have never read anything in the contract because they've taken everything for granted. Please, whatever contract that you have, let somebody take you through sentence by sentence, page by page, and be clear in your mind what your mandate is, what your obligations are, the benefits that you have, so that you never get a chance to say that you were shortchanged. So legal representation is important. And legal representation is not parents. Because a lot of you will take your parents rather to negotiations and things done legal. Legal representation is the one who will read the black and white of the contract and explain it to you. So, as a minor, you need to let your parents engage a legal representation for you. Because that is the one that will take you far. Because it means you have to understand what it means on the paper. You need also to understand that the future is a certain road. And as a footballer, it's more to dream and see yourself. All the things that Chiefs said are dreams. Because you can dream that in about 10 years I'll be playing Manchester, I'll be playing Chelsea, and then you work at it and you get there. But the dream does not end with Manchester, Chelsea, or the team that you play. In fact, the dream will not stop till you are no more. So, the life after football is also important, even though you are young now. If you don't see into the future to see life after football, when you get there, you'll be totally lost because you never prepared for it. The life after football means that you need to get a certain education, You need to get a certain philosophy of life that you should have. Now, when players finish and they are coaches, it means that they were going to school while they were playing. They did not become coaches immediately after they finished playing. It means you should find part of your time to study. Find part of your time to study something that after football you can work with. It means you should have command over even the language that you use. Because sometimes you might be fortunate to be a captain, and then the match is finished, and then they put you before cameras, and you can't even construct the language. It means you were not ready for it. I have lived a life of years. And if you ask me, I can have a first semblance of what I will do about 70 years. Because that is life. If you don't prepare for it, when you get there, you mess up. So for the deputy minister, he wants you to see into the future. It's just the beginning of a certain journey. But you define the road that you take as you go into that future. And that road are most of the time defined by other people, but also defined by you. It means you have to define the kind of relationships that you would have along the way. Within the team, within the fact that one day you're very professional, and professional has nothing to do with friendship. It means that when you leave a team and go to join another team, you should understand what it means. Because then the loyalty changes and you should understand it. And as a young star with dreams, if you don't learn all those things, you will not get there well. Now, the dreams also relate to how you see yourself. You can see yourself small, you can see yourself big. You can see yourself playing the national team, or you can see yourself that after the first 2 trial matches, you will even play again. And then what happens? You've seen people who have just played first match, broken their legs, and then that is the end of a life. You need to prepare for any eventuality. And that depends, again, on the kind of relationship you have with the kind of advisors you have around you. Not advisors who always play your name, but those that when you fault, you go wrong, they'll have the courage to tell you that the decision you took was wrong, and you should also have the courage to go back and change the decision, because it's important. Now, on a bigger picture, one of the things we've never been able to do as a nation is to have a certain brand of football that when any player leaves here, you command a certain value. It's important, because I have been worried where you have a player leave here to France.